once again.
Hello again, here's Jimmy from Riley's Autos, and I'd like to talk to you about forgotten maintenance on certain parts of vehicles that don't ever really usually get checked. We've got a car here, it's a Vauxhall Astra, and like a lot of cars I see, it's got full service history, but when you actually go through the service history or you go through any of the last invoices for the car, all you can see is just a general engine service, which is the oil filters or maybe the fuel filters and cabin filters, but you'd never usually see or find any evidence of when certain things were done. On this one, for instance, your gearbox oil, your clutch fluids, brake fluids, just those sort of stuff that don't usually get done on a full service. So this particular video being about brake fluid or the clutch fluid, and problem with not changing it can cause your clutch pedal to get sort of soft after a certain amount of time of driving it. The fluid can overheat and then you get a soft pedal on the clutch or brakes, and it can just cause premature wear on your slave cylinder, your master cylinder and the clutch, the seals and all that there. You get water condensation inside and it's just going to cause damage in the long run. So it's a good idea to change it before it gets too bad and before it causes you a problem like your brakes going soft or your clutch going soft. So we'll get straight onto it. So on this car here you can see we've done a recent video where we serviced it, and now the engine oil is at 99%. So we're going to go outside and have a look at the clutch and brake fluid. Here we are with the bonnet up, and if we come to the passenger side, or sorry, the left side, but it's the driver's side, the left side that we're looking at from our angle, and if you look in here at the brake fluid, let's have a look, see if we can get that to focus and get a light on there. You can see from the state of that fluid that this hasn't been really looked after there from this perspective, and we have got a tester. We'll put the tester in there, but I mean, from looking at that, I wouldn't really need to test it. It definitely needs flushing out. So just here we have a standard sort of brake fluid tester. This one is the Gunson 77002, and it'll just give you a light indicator if it's red, amber or green. So we'll put this into the brake fluid here, get that in there, and we can press the button, and you can see there it's gone to red. And if we take it out, just wait for that to reset, and we'll just wipe that fluid off of there, and if you press it while it's out of there, it should turn green. Yep. So we're going to flush that fluid out. And on each different vehicle it might be slightly different, but it's always going to be around your gearbox area where you can access the clutch slave cylinder, which is this pipe right here where I've got my finger on. So I'll move this pipe just so we can get a little bit of a better view just by opening that clip there. And with that pipe out of the way, you can see this section here, and there's a little rubber cap on the end here. We're just going to pull that off, and that's that rubber cap from the top. Now if we go back down, you can see the nipple on the end there. So what we're going to do is connect a pressure bleeder onto the bottle, open this nipple, which will push the fluid out. Here we have our brake and clutch bleeding tool, and there's your model number for that. It's a Sealy brand. We're going to connect it onto our reservoir bottle here. Now we're going to pump up some pressure on the gauge here. What we have here is a flared spanner, 11mm, and it's angled slightly. So we're going to get that, slip it down over the nipple there. Now the spanner's on there, we've just got some tube in, and I'm just going to put the tube over the nipple at the end here. And just like that, sorry it's having some trouble focusing. So we've got that tube on there, and that's going to run down to a little tray just down here, so we can pour our fluid in there without making a mess. Now we can open the spanner, just turn it down a little bit, and we should see some fluid coming out. That may take a couple of turns before the fluid starts to come out. And if we look over here, we should see it coming out. And you can see by the colour there, brake fluid should be sort of clear, and you can see the colour is not very clean at all. Just need to make sure we've got enough pressure on there, and you'll see that pressure dropping as the fluid's flowing out. And we're going to keep this flowing until we see the fluid coming out a nice clear colour. Not sure if you can see clearly there, it's a bit of reflection on there, but you can see the black sort of soot floating around in there. It's just very dark. Now we can see a little bit of improvement in the colour of the fluid that's coming out compared to what's in the tray there. But we're going to let it run for another minute just so it's nice and flushed out and we've got 100% clean fluid. Once we're happy with the colour of the fluid, we can just get our hand down here. It's a little bit difficult for you to see what I'm doing, but I'm going to tighten that up by hand until it gets too tight, then I'll get the spanner back on there. Now that's a little bit tight, we should be able to pull the tube off and we shouldn't have any more fluid flowing. Just like that. So the pipe's off here, and now the fluid stopped. But we're going to tighten it up with a spanner to make sure it doesn't leak, of course. Now that's all done, we can clip our boost hose back on and we can discard this old fluid into our waste oil barrel here. Now we can press this button to release the pressure. And unscrew the cap. And then once the cap's off, you can just see the difference in the colour there. Nice and clear, nice and clean. So I'm going to get this cap back on. Make sure that's nice and tight. Now we'll just use some brake cleaner to clean up any sort of residue we might have left there. So that is all done on that part of this car, and we shall be doing some more videos on similar items. We'll make a playlist, so we'll see you on the next videos.